Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining, those who have joined us early. My name is Wesley Holloway, and we'll be getting started here shortly at 2 p.m. Eastern. The time is currently 1:58 p.m. Eastern. So if you will just bear with us a couple of more minutes, and we'll be getting started very soon. All right, it looks like the time is now 2 p.m. Eastern, which is the time that we are set to get started with this session. So we'll just go ahead and begin. Today, my name is Wesley Holloway, and I am a medical librarian with the customer success team at McGraw Hill. And I'd like to thank you all for your time today that you've taken to join this session on AccessMedicine case files collection. So I do have just a few notes that I'd like to pass along to you as we get started. We have set aside 45 minutes for this session today. However, we may not require the entire time. The session is being recorded and it will be provided to all of those who registered for the session as an email within 24 hours after today's session has concluded. If you do have any questions as we go along in today's session, please use your chat box. And we should have time at the end of the session, during which time I will go back to the chat box and I will look at your questions there and we'll address them at that time. And for anyone who has a more in-depth question that I'm unable to get to for time constraints, or one that just requires me to ask from among my colleagues who can provide a more clear answer for something, then I will of course reach out and follow up in an email with you. Okay. All right, so in this session on AccessMedicine case files collection, we are going to highlight the ways that different instructors can support case-based learning, or CBL, with case files collection. So we do call this site for short case files collection. And in this session, we will explore, of course, the cases that are available to you here and different resources that we have recently included here on this site. And we do have content for faculty, for medical students of all years, including clerks and beginning students, as well as residents and clinicians. And here in this site, we have over almost 1,200 cases in basic sciences, as well as clinical rotations areas and postgraduate study areas. And these are all based on real-life patient cases that include comprehensive quizzing and also clinical data. They're designed in such a way that a student or a user in general progresses through the case. We're also going to cover how you can digitally integrate these cases into your coursework for case-based learning activities. There's a pretty simple way of just linking to these cases and including in your courses. And we'll cover those different ways that you can go about doing that. As I mentioned a moment ago, there is new content here as well, including podcasts and audio discussions that help to accompany and illuminate our corresponding cases here in the site. So we'll take a look there as well. We're also going to look at the My Access Profile sign-in feature seen here in the upper right. And you may be familiar with My Access if you have some of our other medical products like AccessMedicine or Access Pharmacy. And finally, we will conclude our session with a look at the support drop-down tab. And this includes our user resources, which is our support site, as well as ways to contact us at the customer success team. So I'm going to first begin just by giving you a brief overview of what case files collection is, and we'll go from there. So this site started in 2015. McGraw Hill Medical released Case Files Collection, and it's a complete series of ebooks based on the Case Files text series of ebooks, I should say, in 23 biomedical science and clinical medicine categories. And it provides an array of real-life cases within this single user-friendly interface. Case Files Collection is a resource that provides instant access, as I mentioned, to these real-life case scenarios in multiple biomedical areas such as pathology and family medicine, psychiatry. Those are some of the more popular disciplines here. The collection is primarily a mix of user-driven, but also instructors have the option to assign cases from the site as well. So it really helps learners to apply basic science and clinical medicine concepts, all within the context here of realistic patient cases. And toward the bottom, you can read more about Case Files Collection, including what makes this collection unique. Again, you have over 23 biomedical and clinical areas that are covered in the basic sciences, clinical medicine, and your clinical rotation areas that your students may participate in, and of course, postgraduate level cases as well. And of these 1,200 cases, at least 650 are unique, meaning that they do not appear in AccessMedicine or our other sites. And I also want to point out that Case Files Collection is updated regularly and it's online ahead of print. So it really helps your students to have, and your users in general, to have access to the most current and authoritative information and useful cases that are really geared toward also your board exams and recertification. Now, it's also important to point out that if you are a subscriber to AccessMedicine, we do provide a small subset of the cases here from Case Files Collection on your AccessMedicine subscription. However, it is just a small select editorial set of cases that you can access on AccessMedicine, which is a separate site. You can access your basic science cases and a selection from our clinical rotation cases on AccessMedicine. However, for access to all of the cases of Case Files Collection and the Case Files text series, you would need to subscribe here to Case Files Collection. And there currently is on the AccessMedicine site some wording that editorial and platform development teams are aware of and are working to fix. So in case there's been any kind of questions regarding that, please note that it is by design that only a select amount of cases are available on AccessMedicine, and all of the cases are here on Case Files Collection. So I do want to point out to you in getting started the sign-in feature seen here in the upper right of your screen. Again, if you are already familiar with some of our other resources like AccessMedicine or Access Pharmacy, this is the same login that you would use for those collections as well. And so this is called your My Access profile. And it's important that we start here in today's session because you must sign in to your free MyAccess profile in order to complete any case content, primarily being the case quizzes. So you would need to sign in here. It is a free, easy sign up. And you can see, of course, my name here on the left-hand side of my sign-in feature. And to the right, you'll notice my institutional affiliation. And so that's very important to point out, especially if you are accessing your subscription remotely. So it's very important that you navigate through your institution's website so that you access your institution's subscription to case files collection. That's very important if you're accessing remotely, or if you're someone who navigates among different campuses, like your institution, and then maybe you work at a hospital or you go to a clinic. So we don't want you to inadvertently become connected with another institution's subscription. You would run into access issues at that point. So please be sure to navigate through your institution's subscription, usually the library webpage, or it may be a link through your institution, through an intranet or a departmental page, that type of thing. Right. So I want to point out to you a few features here of your MyAccess profile before we continue with our look at case files collection. So with a MyAccess profile, we really encourage users, of course, to log in, because other than being able to complete case activities, it also provides you with other benefits. Among those including are these favorites. And this is a way where you can save content. So you can save cases, podcasts as well, images, figures, tables. You can save those and add them here to your favorites in your MyAccess profile, which can also, all of which can also be organized into folders. So you'll see some of my folders, and this is just going to depend on how you want to organize your content. If you're an instructor, you may want to organize by class or by even a lecture. If you're a student, again, you may want to organize by class or research topic, just however fits you. And we're going to come back shortly to this, your folders section here of your profile. I'm going to show you how you can export your favorites. If you're an instructor, I'm going to show you how you can export, batch export links to your favorites. So if you're wanting to assign any cases. And so we're going to look at a couple of different ways of doing that, including coming back here to our folders. So you also can see your recently viewed content here in your profile. This is by date most recent. This is very helpful if you accidentally close the browser or lose connection, or you're just trying to find an item that you were looking at previously and want to get back to. This is very helpful for that. Now, there's also this My Review Questions tab. This is where you can track on all of your quizzing activity, and that includes from other sites apart from just case files collection. Okay, so you will see your case quizzes here that you can retake from this portion of your MyAccess profile. You can also rename those quizzes. That can be very helpful if you're sharing your quiz as from a student to an instructor, if you're sharing anything. Now, there is also this My Cases tab here in your profile. And again, I want to point out that this is going to show you all of your case activity across all of the McGraw Hill medical platforms, apart from just case files collection. So if you're working on cases from, say, AccessMedicine or Access Surgery as well, they will also appear here in your My Cases tab in your profile. But it will show you the, of course, case number and status, the title and the resource that it's being pulled from, and the site. So that is very helpful here. You can see the different sites that you've pulled the case from, such as Case Files Collection or AccessMedicine or Pharmacy. And finally, you have a settings option. This is, of course, like with any account, you can, of course, manage your profile. But also I want to draw your attention to this alerts tool out to the left in the table. So this is your way to subscribe to simple email notifications. These can be set up for weekly, daily, or monthly alerts. If you scroll, you'll see your option for case files collection. And so that is just a simple way to stay apprised of any of the updates that we make to our cases, as well as to any of the other content that we post in case files collection or our other sites to which you may subscribe. Okay, so back on the home page for case files collection, I do want to point out to you that we have this carousel where you can flip through and just browse the different case areas. And all of these cases are organized into the tabs you see along the top here. So your basic science cases, which are really great for your early medical students, but also for a review for your more advanced users, and your clinical rotations cases and postgraduate cases really geared for your more advanced users. If you scroll, and once you are signed into your My Access profile, you'll see this snapshot of your case overview. And also a link underneath here to view your entire case history. And so this is just a view of all of your activity on cases in case files collection. So it isn't going to show you here the cases that you may be working on in other sites like Access Pharmacy or AccessMedicine. And that is something to point out here in this tab where you'll see here My Case History. So this page does differ from the My Cases tab here in your profile, which shows an accumulation of all of your case activity across our platforms. Whereas your My Case History page here in the site just shows your case history from case files collection. So just something to point out there about the site. Okay. All right, and I do also want to quickly show you here in the lower right of the homepage, we do also rotate and highlight this tile, which will show any new cases on the site or any particular cases that have been updated or that we're wanting to highlight and bring to your attention. And so you can see those here. And this will rotate regularly as well as we highlight different cases and features in the site. So another tool that I want to show you here along the top is this search layer. And so this is a very useful way for you to find different resources in our cases on your topic. Okay, so you may find cases, images or figures, and of course now our multimedia being the podcasts. And so notice that as I type, this auto-suggest appears. This can be disabled, but this is a very nice tool to help guide your search. And I do want to point out to you to the left of the search layer, you will see this drop-down menu. Okay, so this by default is going to search your topic in the site in which you're currently in, which we're in case files collection. You can also switch, toggle, and search across all sites. So that's going to run a federated search and will produce more results on your topic. But keep in mind that in doing so, it will also provide you other types of content that aren't necessarily cases. So it may also lead you to quick reference or clinical items or review titles, textbooks. So it's a way of broadening your search, but it will take you to resources outside of just case files collection. But for our purposes today, we're going to just focus our search here in case files. And you can see our search results on this topic has yielded 170 results. As a librarian, I do encourage you to try your search in multiple ways. So you may want to try ACS instead of acute coronary syndromes. And that's just a general rule of thumb when you're searching in most any database or site like this. So you'll notice out in the middle, our search results and our terms here are highlighted in yellow. And to the left, we can modify our search. So if you wish to update your search, including by keyword or title, if you're looking for a specific author's work or ISBN, you can enter that in and update your search results. We also have this format filter. This is a really great filter for really drilling down to any of the specific types of content that you're looking for. So you can see the different format type and the number of resources for that format out to the right. So if you're looking for specific images of ACS or multimedia concerning it, you can easily narrow and find that here. And I do want to point out to you that this will change. Your format filter options will change depending on what you search. So I could search for ACS and it may not produce the exact same results that we have here. And we also have this topics filter. This is another useful tool, especially for, again, drilling down and getting a little more specific. It can also help to suggest terms or help to narrow or focus your search. And in parentheses, it also provides you the number of specific resources concerning that topic. So ACS as it relates to the ICU. And before we navigate away from our search results page, I do of course want to show you the star icon, and you're only going to see this if you are signed into your free My Access profile. So if you are signed in, and if you want to add any of these items to your favorites in your My Access profile, you just simply select your star icon, and then you can add it to any one of your folders here or create a new folder. And then that item, you'll get a little added ribbon here in green, letting you know that the content has been added to your folder in your favorites. So a very simple and easy way to add the content and save it to your My Access profile. All right. So we'll start out with a look at some of our basic science cases first. And so the case studies here in Case Files Collection all provide material for short, targeted, case-based learning that generally require your users to think critically about the content. And they will vary slightly from each case depending on the author. However, in general, you will get, of course, a patient overview and introduction, a patient history, even systems review, and some clinical data, including what are called throughout the site clinical pearls. And these are just your key takeaways of each case. You'll also see some open-ended questions, as well as comprehensive quizzing, multiple choice quizzing. And all of that is reinforced with short answer explanations once the content is submitted. There are also references that are provided in each case. The cases here are peer-reviewed, and you do have some really great case content to provide for your users with the site. Again, we have content here for your students, residents, clinicians, and you can see that, again, they're organized into these different areas along the top. So basic science, postgraduate. Again, these are a great way for faculty to incorporate CBL into their courses, particularly useful during this time of greater online learning where access to patients may be somewhat limited because of the pandemic. And these cases really help to provide your users with those real life patient scenarios that helps them to prepare also for their clinical encounters in their rotations or residency, but also to help prepare them for examinations, including the USMLE, the APN, and other exams. So our basic science cases here, you'll see we have 7 different areas that are covered. Okay, and these, as you can see, are anatomy, biochemistry, microbiology, neuroscience, pathology, pharmacology, physiology. So they're all primarily designed for your early medical students, but again, can be a great review for your more advanced users. I want to quickly show you this tools drop-down menu here at the top. This will take you to an exportable list, so you can export this list to Excel. And here you can access a comprehensive list of the cases here in the site. And the reason that it's important to show this to you, if you'll notice that it will, of course, provide you your authorial and title information, copyright and launch dates, but also if you'll notice out here to the right of the screen, the URL. So this is your unique durable URL. So a persistent URL, a durable URL, and it is unique to that case. So you can, of course, grab the case URL from this page, but that's just one method of doing so. We do have other perhaps easier ways of doing that, but I just want to point that page out to you. So I'm going to open up pathology to give you an example. So I first want to point out to you that you can toggle to display your cases by either case topic, which is the default view that you see here. So this is where your user is being presented with the case detail, or the case topic, I should say. But out to the right, you'll notice this view by toggle, and you can toggle to view by case number. And this is just a great way to challenge yourself without knowing the topic of the case beforehand. All right, so I'm going to open up a case. You can see the different folder icons. So notice how some are blue and shut. So those are just cases that you haven't opened. A green will indicate that you have completed the case, which usually means you've gone through the entire comprehensive quiz and completed that quiz. And then the purple folder, as you can see, is open. So that's just a case that is in progress that you have opened but not completed the quiz for. All right, so it's very important here to mention that all of the cases here in Case Files Collection all come with their own unique, durable URL, okay? And you can copy that URL just right from the browser. So here we are on this case on cardiomyopathy. And if you want, as an instructor, to assign this case to your users or embed it into your course, just simply copy the browser URL here at the top and embed that link into your learning management system. And so what happens is you embed that in your LMS. And when the user goes to your course page in the LMS, when they sign into the LMS, they are authenticated. And so when they select the link from your LMS course page, it just opens up Case Files Collection here, and they are authenticated as a user. All right. So if you wanted to also embed that link, for example, in a lecture or in a course syllabus or even an email, you can do so. But it's very important to note that if you do so in that method, your users would need to authenticate. And typically that just means that they will need to have created their MyAccess profile, okay? They would need to have created their MyAccess profile either while they were on campus, or probably what is most likely for them is by connecting through the library or your subscription through your website and signing in. And that way, when they click the link, like in your syllabus or your lecture, all they have to do is just sign into their MyAccess profile, and that will authenticate them, and they'll be able to access the content. And I also want to point out to you, in case that's just a little confusing, I will show you different ways to contact us with any questions about that. So no worries there. We answer that type of question a lot. All right. So I also want to show you another way of linking to cases in your course setup. So again, remember our star icon out here to the right. Again, if you want to add anything to your My Access profile favorites, you can just add the case to one of your favorites here. And then go into your favorites. And specifically, we're going to look for our folder that we're wanting to export content from. So in this case, I've set up a folder on my cardio cases. And all we have to do here, so if I'm wanting to batch export these resources, if I'm wanting to batch export this folder, all we're really doing here is just exporting links, the durable URLs to all of these items. So it's the same way as we would have done manually if we had just gone one at a time with the browser link. Instead, we're just doing it manually. So you select your content, and then you select this export as tool. Okay, and this is going to allow you two options. So you can either download an IMSCC file, which works with most learning management systems, specifically Blackboard and Canvas. Those are a couple of really common systems, but really any of the LMSs that will integrate an IMSCC file type, which I think is most of them, you can use that. Or you can just download an Excel file here, and that will just show you, of course, the title and the resource, and then the durable URL. And so that also can be easier just by working from a single listing of all your titles and copying in and embedding those links from your Excel file. So those are just a few different ways for you to link to content here from case files collection. Okay. So now we'll look at this case here and some of the design of our cases. So notice here that this case on cardiomyopathy is organized with a series of tabs. And this is again by design for your users to progress when working through the case. And each case in this site is organized similarly, including starting out here with a case overview with some open-ended questions. This is where you are introduced to the case. And notice that when you type any of the answers into these open-ended panes, okay, I'm just using the word test here, this save answers option becomes enabled. And again, you can resume work later on your saved cases. But you can also reveal the answers that help you to progress to the next tab, the clinical approach to the case. So you'll see additional information here that will help you to assess the case. And so we can next progress on to the approach. So this is a little more of your clinical information here, including clinical definitions, objectives. See here a discussion. And also relevant tables. Different cases may also have figures. And again, being signed into your profile, you'll be able to favorite that table or figure if there are any figures available. And the tables and figures are fully licensed for educational use. And they do include citation information as well, which is of course great for attribution. And of course, this is just the thumbnail version of this table here. You can actually view the table and actually see your data, I should point out. Next, you'll notice this Pearls tab here. So these are your key takeaways of the case. These are your key clinical points to remember. You'll also see your references. And again, these may be respective of any paywall. And of course, your comprehensive quiz. And so as an instructor, if you have assigned this case, your students can submit their quizzes for a grade. They can view the answer as they work through the quiz, or they can view their answers in cumulative fashion. And here we see our quiz results with the short answer explanations and the correct answer provided. And toward the bottom, really importantly, they have the email functionality here, and that's how they can share their results with you. But do keep in mind that the case quizzes here can also be retaken. Okay, that's just something important to point out. All right. Moving on now to our clinical rotations cases. And you can see all of the different areas that we cover here. So a little more of your moving away from your basic sciences and more into your different clinical areas. So anesthesiology, critical care, family medicine, internal medicine, and psychiatry, as well as pediatrics. Those are some of the very heavily used and trafficked cases here on Case Files Collection. And I do want to show you these as an example here on family medicine. You'll notice our updated flag, this red flag here. It's just letting you know the cases that have been recently updated here in the site. Again, you'll notice your toggle to view by case number. And again, you'll see here a very, of course, similar layout and design to this case with your introduction to the case and your open-ended questions. And notice this link back to your podcast. So we do have a few different areas right now that have a few different case areas, I should say, that have related podcasts, and those are also in development to add more. So it's a fairly recent addition to the site. And of course, you see your clinical approach, where you can read through a more detailed clinical approach to the issue. This includes different clinical information, objectives, key definitions, and again, any discussion with relevant figures and tables that might be germane to the case. Okay, and again, you'll see your clinical pearls. These are just your key takeaways and points to remember about the case. And you'll see again your comprehensive quiz. All right, and again, those results can be shared or the quiz can be retaken. And of course, our references. And again, remember your star icon here if you wanted to add any case to your favorites. And again, up at the top, your browser link is your durable URL. Okay, so just a couple different ways there again that you can provide links to these cases. And finally here, if we look at these postgraduate cases, you'll notice some overlap in the areas that were covered in the clinical rotations cases, but these are unique cases from those clinical rotations areas. Okay, and many of these include the same features and functionalities that we have already seen in the case design and setup in our basic science and clinical rotations cases. So again, you can link to them. They include comprehensive quizzes. They also include different diagnostic data and things to consider, clinical definitions, treatment and intervention options, evidence-based practice, clinical recommendations, plan of care, and more. And so we're getting close to time in our session today. I want to show you this podcast audio tab. Again, this is a new feature, a very recent addition to the site that we're excited about. Here, users can access our dynamic and engaging podcasts, which complement different cases throughout the site and which help to illuminate concepts from those cases. And you can see the current 4 areas that we have available: family medicine, internal medicine, surgery, and OBGYN. We're also working on pediatrics and psychiatry to add episodes in those areas as well. And Dr. Eugene Toy, who is the primary author of the Case Files series here, really helps bring to life and emphasize the key concepts of a lot of these cases in this easy to use format. Again, you can link to these episodes, same as you would the cases. So it can be a nice supplement for your students or users in general. And again, the site is mobile friendly. So users can also listen to these episodes on the go as they would other podcasts. But in these episodes, Dr. Toy interviews all the specialty authors and provides additional tips and pearls or key takeaways for each of those cases that have a corresponding episode. And he does so in a really nice interview style format. All right, so in wrapping up our session today, I do want to quickly show you in the top in this black ribbon, you'll notice this support drop-down menu. Of course, there's a contact us page, and I'm going to enter our email address into the chat box. And if you wish to bookmark our email address in your contacts, of course, you're welcome to do so. It's customersuccess@mheducation.com. Okay. And I'm also going to put into the chat box, if you select user resources, this will take you to the Access User Center. This is our support site. And so this is where you can access all of our user supports. And we organize it here in this menu. In the left, you can select by medical products. And if you scroll, you'll see here for case files collection. And so I'm going to enter into the chat box the link to this specific page. So if you wish to bookmark that page, please feel free to do so. And this is where you'll find all of our supports for your use of case files collection, including a recent addition here, this red paper on case-based learning. So this is just a free CBL red paper here. And this paper is a really nice tool, free from McGraw Hill. It will show you the advantages of case-based learning, evidence of improvement through clinical decision-making from having case-based learning, and the effects of case-based learning on patient outcomes, its influence on student retention and application of their knowledge, as well as an impact on their student engagement and collaborative skills. So it's a really nice resource that can also help you to integrate our cases into your courses. But you'll see other content here, including how to create your MyAccess profile, as well as how to properly affiliate your MyAccess profile with your institution should you inadvertently become disconnected from your institution's subscription. Okay, how to use the search tool as well. And also I wanted to point out to you in particular this linking to content video. This is a really great video that our team designed, and it really walks you through step-by-step exactly how to take those durable URLs and use them in your LMS. I believe this video shows it being used with Blackboard. And so this is a really nice tool. It's just about a 3 or 4 minute video that really quickly captures how you can take those links from our cases and embed them into your courses. Now, I also want to quickly show you here our content maps. And so we do have different resources here where we match different accrediting standards and professional and specialty needs with our different specific resources here. So it does pair key McGraw Hill resources, including cases with some of these different areas like family nurse practitioner or clinical nurse specialist, et cetera. You can see some of the different areas that we cover. And of course, finally, our contact us page. And I have put that contact us email address, customersuccess@mheducation.com, into the chat box. And I'm going to circle back to our chat just to see what questions we may have. So a couple of you are asking if there will be a recording made available. And yes, you should receive a link to the recording within 24 hours. If you registered for this session, you should receive it in your email, probably by tomorrow. Okay. Let's see, we also have, so there was a question about can the grades for the quizzes be easily imported into an LMS? Unfortunately, not from the case files collection platform. Again, they can email you their results, and then those results would just be manually input into the LMS. And then another question here is talking about case files, teaching cases. And I'm going to go back to our homepage for case files collection really quickly to show you that. So here on the homepage of AccessMedicine case files collection, you'll notice out to the right, this See Also, and this will take you to options for trialing case files, teaching cases. And currently, we are examining ways of integrating the teaching cases into the case files platform here. So that is a possible update that will be coming to this case files collection site. So it could include a teaching cases option here in your subscription, but teaching cases is a separate site and it operates more like middleware. And so it has different options for sequestered cases primarily. So the cases here on case files collection are primarily open to your users. So they can, it can be self-driven. You know, they can participate and use these cases on their own. Whereas the cases on teaching cases are sequestered, faculty sequestered, and they're not typically shared, or at least the quizzing and other assignment activities related to those cases are not shared unless the faculty shares them. I hope that addresses your question on teaching cases. And again, you can select the link there and read more about our site. And if you're interested in subscribing or trialing, those options are provided to you there. There was another question about Boolean operators. So going back to our topic on acute coronary, this is just a simple search layer. And we also have this about search tool here to the right of the search layer. This will provide you a little more depth about, for example, how our search results are ranked, and also about Boolean operators. So the and is implied here. But in general, the search does not really support a lot of complex search operators. It's just a simple search. All right, let me make sure. I think there was one other question that I will get to in an email about EBM. All right, I want to thank you all for your time today. We are out of time. And the final question, I guess I'll address to you really quickly about the cases and the references. So the cases are based, okay, thank you. The cases are based around evidence-based practice, in particular our postgraduate cases. And they do, again, help to prepare your users for board examinations. They're based around and preparation for the USMLE, even the PANCE and APN. And I do hope that addresses your question. And I can certainly get to you in more depth in an email if you like as well. Thank you all for your time today. It's been a real pleasure. Have a great day.